everybody. I want to welcome you from Tales from the Trails. I have Philip here with me. Philip, if you don't mind introducing yourself, talk a little bit more about what your company does and your role in that company.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Phil Ogilby. I am the founder, actually co-founder. So my wife and my son and I are founders of Stack Construction Technologies. Been in the construction business my whole life. The last 30 years has been around technology and construction. And so today I'm the CEO, and that's what we do.
Awesome. So we are changing things up a little bit today. Everybody's typically used to Drew being on here, but since my background, I actually have a little bit of construction background, and I thought it would be fun for us to chat. So construction's always been a bigger part of my life. My husband is in construction, my father-in-law, his uncle, my dad, and at one point, my father actually wanted me to take over his construction company. And part of that was where I had to do the old school way of bidding out projects and that sort of thing. And so when I learned about Stack and your technology, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so I was really excited to jump on here and talk to you a little bit more about your specific technology tool and how it's transformed a little bit in the construction world, because they are a little bit more of older school when it comes to some of those things that they do currently. So
yeah, it's so true. It's funny. I've been in this game a long time, and every now and then I get some sort of recognition. But I got invited to speak in front of a subcommittee in Congress, actually, a House subcommittee that was investigating the impact of technology on construction. And so at the time, Steve Shabbat was our local congressman, and he invited me to come to Washington, D.C. And it was really fascinating, and it was a privilege. And I doubt anything ever comes of the hearing that I participated in, but it was pretty cool. There's a YouTube out there somewhere of me doing it. But as part of my research, one of the things I learned is the failure rate in construction is extraordinarily high. And it's primarily because we adopt technology at a rate much slower than virtually every other industry out there. And we've really been on a mission at Stack, and that is to really improve that failure rate and help people like myself, an old contractor, to find financial success. And it's just really become now a life's work for me, really.
Yeah, just learning a little bit more about what you do. I feel like you guys were really ahead of the curve. So a part of our thesis is that every business and every organization has some mission that they're trying to deliver. Can you tell us a little bit something more about Stack's mission statement?
So our mission statement, yeah, it's funny you should ask. So our mission statement very specifically is we strive to add value and positive business impact to our customers and our partners through the Stack platform, and to continue to drive efficiency and innovation in both pre-construction and construction. And it's expanded for us. We started in pre-construction. We've now expanded. We're truly building a platform that spans pre-construction and construction for our business partners. And so it really goes back to what we talked about a minute ago, and that is that extraordinarily high failure rate in construction. Candidly, it's one of the riskiest businesses there are to start today if you purely look at the failure rate. And primarily it's because people take a path much like I took, which was, you start in the building trades, you learn it. Maybe your dad was in it, like you were mentioning, maybe a family member, but you start in the building trades. You don't go to business school. You don't get a lot of formal business training, and you end up becoming an entrepreneur through one reason or another, and you start your own construction business. And while you have skills in the trades, that does not at all translate into profitability. And so our mission really, if you restate what I just said to you, our mission is truly to help people to succeed in an industry that I just passionately love, and we try to give people an edge through our Stack platform.
I love that. That's great. So I wanted to go back just a little bit. So I know that you are a founder, and you mentioned that your wife and son. Can you talk to us a little bit more about their involvement in the company as well?
Yeah, sure. Let me give you the condensed version of my story, because it's pretty cool, and I love to tell the story. And it's much more fun to be on this side of the story than it was in the early days. But I remember sitting with my parents on the couch in our living room in Enon, Ohio, where I grew up. And my mother says to me, Philip, we've saved $2,500 for your college fund. That's the bad news. But the good news is your dad can get you into the Sheet Metal Workers Union in Dayton, Ohio. And you can start right after graduation, and you'll make $14 an hour. And in 1978, that was a small fortune, right? Nobody was making that kind of money that I knew. And I wanted to earn some money. I wanted to move out of my parents' house, and I wanted to earn some money. And so that's the path that I embarked on. And I remember now looking back on it, I'd be walking across the roof of one of these big commercial construction buildings I'm working on. I'm 18 years old, had just graduated. And these old timers would say, what are you doing up here, kid? Go to college. You deserve better than this. But candidly, construction gets in your blood, and that's all I knew to do, and that's all I did. But then the economy turned down in the early 80s, and it really rocked my world. And I remember I went and collected an unemployment check, and I did that once, and I thought, I can't do this anymore. I need to earn a living, and I need to do better for my family. At the time, I had a mortgage and I think a son and maybe another one on the way. But I bought a book on how to roof your house, is what I did. And I read that book, and then I went down and I put an ad in the Yellow Pages, which was the Google of its day. And I'll never forget, my wife at the time was like mortified that I just committed to spend like $500 a month. And that was more than our mortgage probably at the time. But anyway, long story short, I jumped into the construction business that way. And I started putting roofs on people's houses and hiring my out of work buddies. And I cobbled together enough to buy an old truck and literally started with nothing. And one thing led to another. I got a few opportunities along the way. By the time I was 25, we had 50 employees. We were roofing big buildings all around Dayton, Ohio. And it had become a success story. The commercial construction was very difficult, though. I'd love to tell you I made a pot of money in that business, but I really didn't. Along the way, my oldest son, Justin, was one of those computer genius kind of kids. And so I remember I came home one day and he had written a game on the computer and he had things shooting at each other. And I thought, man, that's really cool. What if we buy you some more books and we buy some more software and let's create something we can use for the family roofing business? And it took longer than we thought, and it took more money than we thought. But after about 3.5 years, we developed a product that we came to call Buildware Pro. And Buildware was a fabulous product. I remember showing it to one of my buddies in the roofing business, and he's, holy cow, I can't believe you guys built this. How much to buy it? And I'm like, I've never thought of selling it. So I went home and I thought about it, and I thought, how about $5,000? And he said, yeah, sure, here, let me write you a check. And so that's literally how we got started. And a couple of years later, I was out of the roofing business and I was full-time in construction technology. And that was before the internet. So I would travel all around the country and fly around and just hope that I would time it right with my customer and give him a demo and he'd give me some money, and did that for a few years. Along the way, when the internet sort of came to be a thing and I understood how it worked, I thought, what if we build a solution that would allow a general contractor to electronically invite his subs to bid, and then we could distribute the drawings electronically in a PDF or a TIFF form, mostly TIFFs in those days. And then Buildware could be used to measure the drawings right on the screen without turning them into paper. And so that was 1999. And we started I Square Foot at that time. And that was a hell of a ride. We started it during the dot-com boom. It was primarily a business to distribute blueprints and bid opportunities to subcontractors, is really what I Square Foot still is today. It's now known as Construct Connect. We ended up selling that business for about $85 million. In 2010, we were still going strong at I Square Foot, and I thought, I've got to move on. I've got to do something different. I'd hired a CEO to run the business at the time. That's when I left and started Stack. And so my wife, Jane, and my son, Justin, came with us, and we started Stack in 2012. We created a product called Cloud Takeoff, which was the first ever measuring solution online. I wasn't sure people would really commit to a business critical application via the internet in those days. But sure enough, within a couple of years, we had about 600 customers. And so I went out and raised a little bit of money from sort of family and friends at the time. And we relaunched it as Stack in 2015. And so we started out with takeoff software. We expanded into estimating software. And now we've done a couple of acquisitions and grown the business. And now we have a complete platform, really, from pre-construction, takeoff estimating, all the way into using the tablet in the field on our smart use application, and then construction management as well. So it's been quite a journey, but that's how we got to where we are today. And we're having a tremendous amount of success with Stack. It's really changing people's lives and helping them find success. And that's the mission we're on.
Yeah, that's great. I love that story. I love that your son got adapted in earlier on. And I love that you're bringing technology. I know that you're a big advocate for it in the construction world, and it seems like it's doing really well for you guys. So congratulations. I don't know the last time someone told you that, but that's amazing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
What made you want to get Salesforce for your company? What was your thought process behind that? Because you guys are so technology driven, and you seem to have, all of the constructions thing and those components. Why did you guys choose to bring Salesforce on?
I remember at the time when we made the decision to onboard Salesforce, we were using another platform that was more designed around sales, and it was very helpful, and it had a lot of tools integrated just for sales that was very helpful. But we chose Salesforce because it was a platform of record, right? It's become like the Xerox, right? It's what CRM software is. And we started with Salesforce and it gave us early results that were pretty good. But credit where credit is due. I hired a COO by the name of Ray DeZenzo about 3 years ago. And Ray's been a game changer for our business. And Ray brought his background with Salesforce with him. And then we've onboarded a couple of Salesforce experts within our company that are our employees. And it's really been transformative. Salesforce has really allowed us to, in real time, have access to all of our churn data. SaaS is not a complicated business, but you want to know where you're winning business and where you're losing business. And so I can tell you, based on our Salesforce data, it's truly amazing the machine we built with Salesforce up to the minute. We're not scrambling to have our financials done at the end of the quarter because all of our important metrics are already real time available to us every day inside of Salesforce. So it's been a game changer for us. I just signed off on our most recent payment for Salesforce was $165,000. And looking back on that, it feels like a lot of money. It's one of the biggest checks I write even today with the size of our business, but it's an easy check to write because it's been an absolute game changer for us.
Wow, that's great. So I would say everything that you guys were hoping to accomplish with Salesforce, do you see the need to expand in any ways? Are you using the sales? Are you using it for marketing?
Yeah, there's Kyle and some others in our organization would be much better to answer that question very directly, but we integrate it for marketing. We integrate it for sales, for sure. We integrate it for customer success. We know we can tell inside of Salesforce when one of our customers is using a new feature, for example, right? So let's say we spend 6 months designing a new feature. We believe our customers are going to use it. We're hearing demand in the marketplace for that feature. When we finally roll it out, we've spent $300,000 creating this feature. We want to know if people are using it.
Absolutely.
We feed the real activity data from the application back into Salesforce. So when customer success is talking to Susie at ABC Landscape, right, we know whether they're using that new feature or not. Or if another company's thinking of leaving and they're expressing frustration over this or that, we can tell if they're using that application within our software. And if not, we can direct them to use it and hopefully save the customer from leaving. So that kind of level of detail is transformative inside of our business. All the customer usage data is available real time in Salesforce for our customer success team, which has just been a game changer for us.
That's great. So what's next for Stack? What are you guys looking to accomplish over the next 12 months?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're really investing heavily right now in moving up market. And we're the only solution in the marketplace that has a full API, right? So API allows our users to reach inside of the software and pull their data and push their data into Salesforce or any other application that they might use to manage their business. And so we're really investing heavily in our upmarket efforts, and that means expanding our APIs, making the APIs do more. We're investing in AI. We're doing things around AI that's going to be a game changer one day. We're already seeing early results there. So there's a lot of things we're doing. We're expanding into the field, right? Much of what we've been doing the last 18 months is knitting these software solutions that we build around project management. We acquired rather around project management and field applications. We're merging those together with the Stack platforms. We're going up market, selling to larger customers, and we're moving into the field and bringing more value into the field for our users as well.
That's great. So not really doing a whole lot, right?
Yeah. Other than that, we're just sitting on our hands.
Right. That's awesome. Do you have any advice to someone who's not currently on Salesforce that is in that crossroads? Should we make the jump? Because it could be a financial strain on a company. Do you have any advice or anything to speak to that?
Yeah, spend the money. That's my advice, spend the money. But I need to put a caveat around that, right? So Salesforce feels expensive when you're just starting as a company in the beginning. Get over that, right? Just move past that idea because it's not. If you're doing it right, it'll change your business. If you're doing it right, you'll run your business entirely on the Salesforce platform. And that also means probably in the early days, if you don't have the money to hire a dedicated expert in-house, which I highly encourage, as soon as you can afford it, bring that person in. It's going to be one of the most important people in the business. Then spend the money with a consultant, right? But there's a lot more that you can do with Salesforce than you're currently doing. I promise you there is. You just need to figure out what that is and start doing it. You need to have your hands around your metrics in order to manage your business, and especially never more so than today in this crazy environment. You need to know where you're making money, where you're losing money, and how you can do more of the first. And Salesforce will do that for you, but you got to spend the money.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Phil, for coming on Tales from the Trails. We look forward to seeing what Stack is going to do over the next year. And yeah, we hope to have you again soon.
Thanks, Kat. This was fun. I
Thanks.
enjoyed it.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Thank you.